Welcome back to the 8th concession. My name is Natalie. It's mid-April, but boy are we having some lovely weather. It's supposed to go up to 28 Celsius today, which is about 82 Fahrenheit. That's summer weather for us. But I know it's not going to last. The forecast shows that by next week it's going to be only a high of 6 Celsius, which is about 42 Fahrenheit. So with a chance of snow, who wants more snow? But anyway, while the weather is nice, I'm going to get a jump on some of my spring chores. The only things I've planted are onions and leeks, so they should be fine even if it gets cold. And some seeds, lettuce and spinach, they'll be fine. So I have to resist the temptation to plant anything else, but what I can do is clean up some of these garden beds, weed them, get them ready, because the reality here on the 8th concession is that we have an issue with mosquitoes. It is, as I've mentioned before, a very high water table here, and in the spring right now we have standing water. Mosquitoes are breeding. It makes it uncomfortable in the summer sometimes to go to certain parts of our yard and work. So while there are no mosquitoes yet, I am going to weed and there's a little bit of a flower bed in the front here, and then my raspberries and blackberries. I need to trim all the perennial sweet peas in the middle, get this all nice and neat and ready to grow, so even if the bugs come, I'm set. So that is my chore for today. I'm going to start here with my elderberry, which I got just last year, but you can see, let's see if I can zoom in here, it is sprouting and doing great. This is a peony that has fallen over. I'm going to trim that back, get that ready. This is a hosta, and this thing, oh lovely, my iris, this was a gift from my son and daughter-in-law last year. It's a bright orange iris. It is so pretty. The rest in here, I think that is some garlic, which I threw over here. Here's another piece of garlic that I planted over here one year when I had no room. And then of course, every time I think I've harvested it all, I haven't. You can see, I think I may just pull that out of here. And then I'm going to move on to my raspberries. Take the fence down, clean them up a bit. They are ever-bearing, but I may trim off the tops of them where they had berries last year and clean it up. Here we go. Well, step one is done. I was very excited to see under all of those stalks the peonies are starting. These are a beautiful magenta colored peony. I left this garlic here. I'll try and remember and pull it in the fall. That's how I get into trouble all the time. I forget to pull it, or the mosquitoes are just too bad. So I've left that one in there. This here is actually a hosta. There are a few points coming up. Back here I'll just plant some annuals. This is another hosta right here. Then there's the orange iris I mentioned. More garlic. I did pull the one garlic back here. It was already mostly out of the ground. And this is actually another hosta here. Now the edge here isn't very straight or smooth, but I'm reluctant to do too much over here permanently because at some point this slug hut hopefully will be replaced with a proper wooden barn. So I don't want to do anything too permanent that I'm just going to have to pull up. So I just tried to neaten the edge a bit. And this rock, we call our heartstone, we found it, I think it was just over here somewhere when we were digging up. I thought it was so cute. All right, on to the raspberries. Now this pile right here is actually dried twigs and branches that we're going to burn in our burning barrel, which is right behind me. So I'm not going to touch that. But this is my perennial sweet pea. You can see that I've got like a trellis underneath it. But this needs to be all trimmed back and set up for this year. So that's next on the agenda. The blackberries are next. They don't need much work. Luckily the rabbits living in the hole right under here trimmed most of them back for me. I'm just going to trim back any of the dead canes. You can tell which ones they are because they're like a light brown color instead of this nice red. And then there's just a few weeds. This shouldn't take me long at all, I hope. Well, I didn't get done yesterday, as you can see, but I got close. So this morning I'm going to finish up the rest of the blackberries and that last little bit of a flower bed back there. And then this whole section will be done. The blackberries went fairly quickly. The dead canes, the ones that had fruited last year, they actually just snap right off. So I didn't even bother trying to prune them. I'm just going to check once more because I was pretty tired yesterday when I was finishing up. So check the blackberries, finish that off, and then this is ready for mosquito season. Well, it took 2 days, not one, but it is done and I am so grateful. And everything is actually looking really good. My elderberry, if we can zoom in on that, you can see it's starting to bloom. My peonies are popping up. My orange iris is looking good and healthy. Free garlic. The raspberry canes, oh, they just look so much neater with all the dead canes pulled out and them trimmed back a bit. And you can see that they too are ready to burst into leaves. That mess of the perennial sweet pea has been tamed and they are growing. And then of course the blackberries. They go a little bit high up the slug hut, but those are my second-year canes and they should all bear fruit. Got most of the weeding done beneath them. And then this morning's chore was this little bed, which happened to be the worst of them all for the grass creeping in. But I haven't had time, or I haven't wanted to put a permanent border. As I mentioned before, we do want to redo this barn as a proper wooden barn. So I don't want to do anything that's going to cause me a lot more work. These two irises I planted here a couple of years ago because I had nowhere else to put them. I forget what color that is. Well, we'll see together. This I know is a blue pencil iris, and it's very, very pretty. Now here, there is actually, I could tell from the sticks I was pulling, there's a hosta here. And this here in the cage is actually a beautiful lily. I think it's in the closing credits of my videos. It's sort of orange with red tips. It's gorgeous. And you can see that it is coming beautifully. Now the reason I keep this chicken wire around it is because you could see when I was pushing all the gravel back, the rabbits live under the slug hut, especially back here at the back, and they just keep pushing them out as they dig out from underneath. So I've given up trying to do too much with this garden, but I do have the beautiful iris there. I'll fill in with some annuals that I'm growing inside, but there's the hosta, the beautiful lily, The lavender that I grew from seed a couple years ago, I'm just thrilled with how big it is. And this here is my pink, double pink chiffon Rose of Sharon. Now, it was only planted last year and it bloomed and bloomed. Oh, it was gorgeous. But again, Rose of Sharon is a favorite treat of rabbits. And with the rabbits living right here, I'm leaving the cage around it because we're getting some colder temperatures next week. And if the snow covers the ground and there's nothing else to eat, they could decimate this in one night. So I'm going to leave the cage on until it gets its leaves, and then I'll take it off again. But I can't wait. I wonder how it's doing. Rose of Sharon, of course, are later in the season. I can't really see much going on. That's typical. And this here was a gift from a friend. This is actually a black currant, and it had lots of berries last year, but the birds got them before I did. So there you go. Neat and tidy, weeded, decaned from the dead canes, and ready to be beautiful this summer. I hope you'll join me as we watch it all come into bloom together. Bye for now.